Senior Advisor to the President-elect, Kellyanne Conway. It's great to have you here with us this morning. I know you've been holding a lot of meetings, but we are distracted from a little bit of the analysis of the cabinet by the tweeting. Once again, you say you want him to communicate directly with the people. It's certainly part of his toolkit that helped him become president. I don't think anybody can reasonably deny that. But do you believe that this is a good thing for him going forward, asking for equal time as president? You know, you don't get that. Going after critics. Is this really how he's going to spend his time as president?
He has over 25 million followers on Facebook and Twitter, and it's a great way for him, Chris, to take his message directly to people, cut through the noise or the silence, whatever the case may be. Sometimes important things that he's saying and doing are getting zero coverage. Sometimes he's just trying to cut through the nonsense of people telling Americans what's important to them, which we saw through the elections wasn't true. People constantly being told this issue, this statement, this past transgression is important to you. And Americans said, no, it's not. What's important to me is this 100-day plan where he's going to drain the swamp and repeal and replace Obamacare and pass meaningful tax reform and create 25 million jobs.
That's not what he's tweeting about, though. Mike Pence says he wasn't offended. He says that Hamilton's overrated, which is, by the way,
well, that's his opinion.
I know,
that's
but
opinion.
Wow.
I'm going. I'm taking my
sold out till next August.
For their birthday.
They will love it.
The tickets were so expensive. It's all they got for their birthday. Sorry, honeys.
They will love it.
But the fact is, well, they may love it. I think.
But I'm saying, why take it up? Why take up SNL? No president does that. Why take it up? Why waste the time? Why distract?
But why do you care? In other words, who's to say that he can't do that, make a comment, spend 5 minutes on a tweet and making a comment, and still
having the right to do it is absolute. Nobody's saying that. But he's as my president.
Then focus on what he did this week as your president-elect, which was unbelievable.
So
and I'm going to say unprecedented.
So he doesn't take any responsibility for his own tweets. It's on me for focusing on it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say he wasn't responsible, but you're assigning malice or you're assigning wrongdoing to him where it doesn't exist. And I think we all should have learned a lesson from the election that doesn't fly with the voters and the
Except
viewers.
this isn't about his base as an insurgent and playing on what people are angry and frustrated about.
He won because we won Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania for the first time in decades.
But this is not like it was a blowout, right? It was, you won by 100,000 votes in 3 states and you lost a popular vote. He's now president of everybody.
Right.
So
he said he will be.
Why focus on divisions? That's all I'm saying.
He's not focused on divisions. This network and other people will always be focused on his divisions. How about accepting the election results, Chris, and letting him form a government?
How have we not done that?
By this conversation and others.
No,
Look,
I mean, look, the tweeting is on him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all. It's not on us.
But what else he's tweeting? He's tweeting about the people he's meeting,
yes,
which have been phenomenal. I've been there, present at Bedminster in the Tower every day when people are coming in and out. You're talking about literally dozens and dozens of meetings with heads of states, with captains of industry, with sitting and former governors, members of Congress, senators. These are people, a diverse group of people who come from many different backgrounds, who are all lending their opinions and their advice and their counsel and their experience to the president-elect and the vice president-elect, and some of whom may end up in his cabinet. But he is, that a leader takes the counsel of many people, and that's precisely what he's doing.
And a leader should also have a thick skin. Let's talk about some of these choices. Jeff Sessions as AG. What do you believe or anticipate the problems with confirmation to be because of his history? That's going to be a big concern.
Let's talk about his history. He was the Attorney General of Alabama. Before that, he was the U.S. Attorney. He made sure that one of the Klansmen's son who murdered an African-American man got the death penalty. He pushed for that. It was the first time a white man was given the death penalty for killing an African-American man in Alabama since 1913. He voted to honor Rosa Parks. He voted to confirm one of his predecessors, former Attorney General Eric Holder, also African-American, and President Obama's pick. He could have said, you know what a lot of Democrats are saying now, I don't like his politics. I'm not going to vote for him. Yet he did. He respected President Obama's right to appoint Eric Holder, just happens to be African-American.
You're leaving some facts out, though, right?
No, because you
got denied a judgeship in 1986. Was there a reason for that?
Yes, and people like Arlen Specter, who denied it later, said I should not have done that because I find him, now that I serve with him, I find him to be egalitarian.
Wouldn't it be easier for him to come out and say, by the way, this stuff about me joking about the KKK,
he has said that.
That's nonsense.
He has said that.
I believe the NAACP is a good organization. I believe the Voting Rights Act is an important law as the Attorney General to enforce in this country.
But he voted for all types of civil rights extensions.
No, he's been actively against that act for a long time.
You have to look at the full measure of the man. And I know people who don't want to respect the election results, whoever they are out there.
I think that's an excuse, Kellyanne. I'm talking about the Attorney General.
Are still in campaign mode. They're still in campaign mode.
He's Attorney General, your choice. He is actively against the voting
Why
rights.
didn't Democrats put anybody up against him last time he ran in 2014? Nobody
Alabama?
Yeah, sure. If you're against him, be the sacrificial lamb. Say, I'm going to stop this guy because of who he is. They couldn't do it because they know who he is. They're looking at the full record. He's been a United States Senator for 20 years. He was a law enforcement officer before that. He's incredibly qualified. Look, the criteria for any of these posts, Chris, is number one, are you qualified and capable of doing the job on day one? Secondly, it's are you loyal to the agenda that the president-elect has put forward as his vision, and he has a right to go ahead and implement that with the advisors that he surrounds himself with. You know, this is what confirmation hearings are for. And I would hope people will express senatorial courtesy to someone they've worked with and who they know in fullness. I know there are some pundits out there saying his name should be rescinded because they have no place in saying that. They're welcome to say it.
That's an
It's really
opinion. I'm
silly.
just asking about the facts of his service, both
And I'm
past
giving you
and
many of
present.
them.
And I'm happy to put him right where you are and interview
giving you
him
many of them.
anytime he wants. Rudy Giuliani or Mitt Romney for Secretary of State? There seems to be this binary conversation going on here. It's one or the other. Is that true in terms of the internal calculus? Is Rudy Giuliani not up for anything else if he doesn't become Secretary of State?
I can't discuss the particulars, but I will tell you that they're both met with Mr. Trump this weekend, President-elect Trump this weekend. They both have been very distinguished public servants. They had very different roles in President-elect Trump's campaign.
Different roles?
Yeah, to say the least.
Boy, you are
But
good,
there are other
Kellyanne, I got to
people-
tell you.
There are other people. There's a long short list for each of these positions. I mean, he's
Right.
also met with Senator Bob Corker from Tennessee, who's rumored to be on the list for Secretary of State. There are others, obviously, who are qualified. But again, let's go back to my previous comment, which is not everyone who consults with the president-elect and comes to meet with him, Chris, is going to be in his cabinet or in his federal government. And I think that's important to remember because we're really happy that so many people want to come and give their counsel, honestly, to express their wisdom, to share their experiences, to give advice. A lot of what Mitt Romney said about the world in 2012 when he ran against President Obama has come true. And he knows an awful lot about the world. I thought it was also very gracious. You know, there's a very, very small class of people who have run as the presidential nominees of their party, and there are two of them. They're also both successful job creators, which is very rare in politics.
And the president-elect is willing to forgive all of the things that were said about him by Mitt Romney.
He is a very forgiving, very gracious person, and he's also a wonderful listener and a wonderful learner. Even as you know, he's the man who's in command and control of these ultimate decisions. I'm telling you, honestly, one of the first pieces of character and leadership is that you are willing to listen to other people. I saw it when he was a candidate. I see it as president-elect, and you will see it as president of the United States.
Kellyanne Conway, thank you
David.
very much for being here,
got it.
as always.